Yeah, and it didn't work. Anyway, hello. Let me unmute you both. Now we can hear you. Hello, hello, hello. How's it going, everybody? I think we're live. Can everybody hear me? Can everyone hear each other?
Well, I can hear you.
I can hear you. I can hear you both.
Yep, I can hear you very well. Good.
But
Anyway, hello. Let me. There we go. You can see each other now. Anyway, hello. How's it going, everybody? It's me, John, one of the hosts here on the channel. We're here for a live stream, finally. So I'm with my fellow co-hosts, Lawrence and Sam.
We haven't done a live stream in a while, but
Yeah,
we've finally got round to one, so here we all are.
There's currently 2 people watching. I don't know who it is, but again, I ask you, Sam, to just keep an eye just in case of any trolls.
Well, I'll keep an eye in the comment section. No problem there.
That's fine. Yeah, just as long as we've got another pair of eyes on it, because sometimes we do get targeted by some idiots. It's been rare. It is rare, but
much of a problem for a while. I mean,
no, we haven't.
When we first started doing these live streams, we would get trolls galore. We would get all sorts of people throwing abuse and everything. But these days we don't get it too much. I mean, it's been a while. My last recollection of having anyone like that was well over a year ago. So it's probably been a while since we've had that problem. But it's always worth keeping an eye out.
It is, yeah.
Well, John, I have some news. It's not great news. You probably know what this is.
Yes.
Yeah. All the videos and photos from Ponycon have vanished. They're not on there anymore.
I don't understand how, because all you did was move them over to my phone.
Yeah, I think that's why. Are they still on your phone?
No, I deleted them because they didn't work.
Great. I've got one video on there and I can't get it to play. I have tried multiple bits of software and it will not work. So I'm going to try it on my laptop later tonight, maybe, because I've got some software on there that's not on this computer, so maybe it'll work. But unfortunately, we've lost most of what I had from Ponycon. I may only have about a bit of footage now. I don't know what's happened, but for some weird reason, there should be a load of stuff on this USB. I transferred it over onto here, and something's gone wrong. So I might only have a little bit of footage left for this year's Ponycon, but I'll see what I can do.
Well, that's a pain in the ass. Yeah, I don't know, because obviously I was having problems trying to transfer everything over or copy it over to my phone, and you did it for me, and you did the transfer over. Everything went over. I've got your photos, I've got all your pictures on my phone, but I haven't got any videos because I deleted them because I couldn't play them. It was just a grey. It was just a grey screen.
As I said, there's still some videos on there, but I'm having the same problem. They will not work. I've tried multiple. I've got multiple video player devices on this computer. I've tried all of them. I've updated a couple of codecs, and it just won't work. So I've no idea. I'm going to give it a try. I'll try it on my laptop later because I've got a couple of different bits of video software on there that I don't have on this computer. So I'll give that a try. But anyway, so rather than talking about stuff that we can't fix, let's talk about a little bit about Ponycon. Ponycon. So this year it was in Birmingham.
Yep.
For anybody that doesn't know, Ponycon is normally, or UKPonycon, I should say, is normally in Nottingham, has been for several years. To sort of give you a brief rundown on what happened, there was basically a double booking at the Nottingham University where Ponycon normally is. As a result, Ponycon couldn't book the university this year. They very nearly had to cancel the event, but last minute they booked themselves at the Birmingham Conference Event Centre, which is basically literally at the back of the Holiday Inn down New Street in Birmingham City Centre. They were there this year. Me and Lawrence, we were staying at the Blue something Spa Hotel, whatever they called it, just like right next door to the Holiday Inn. And yeah, so we had a great time. As you all know, I had to buy some new badges while I was there, so We've got a Huntrix badge for any of you KPop Demon Hunter fans out there. And I've also got a new Luna badge, which I'm quite proud of. Quite a nice one.
That's nice.
Also, I've got 2 albums from the music acts. And they're both signed.
Nice.
And of course, Rebecca Shawchette was there. And she sang my Rainbow Rocks. So yeah, real happy about that. Just speaking of Ponycon, because of Ponycon, I mean, I've even got my season 1 of Gen 4 here. We've even got the Voices of Fluttershy and Rainbow Dash signatures on there as well. So great stuff for the last few years. But yeah, that's everything I bought. Two badges, the 2 albums, and I got Rebecca Shawchette's autograph. Also, I got a commission. I actually paid for it while I was there from one of the artists. So I'm going to read the email because I emailed him basically a few days ago just to check up on the commission. I've already paid for it. So just going to read this out to you all, and then I kind of like Lawrence and John's opinions on the commission, because I haven't quite had an idea yet how I want it to be. But anyway, so hello Sam, hope you're doing well and that you enjoyed the rest of your time at UKPonycon. You paid in advance for the physical colour sketch of the KPop Demon Hunters, Rumi, Mira, Zoe all together. Freedom with them as long as it's just those 3. I know it's been a few days, so it's time you have any ideas you want the Huntrix girls to be doing or wearing in the sketch, let me know, as next week I'll be getting the sketch done and then I'll be sending it to you. Obviously, provide address details so I can post it out to you. Thank you. Look forward to hearing from you. Regards, Joey. I think I pronounced his name right. So yeah, anyway, I'm kind of thinking to myself, what kind of commission should I get? I mean, it's paid for. I said it's the K-pop, it's Huntrix, it's the 3 main characters for K-pop Demon Hunters, and yeah, I'm still thinking about how to sort of what kind of thing I want to do with it. I'm thinking of having them all in like a battle position with sort of the battle gear on, something like that maybe. I'm just sort of giving it a bit of thought, but anyone's got any ideas, throw them at me. Because I'm going to pop him a message probably tomorrow. So yeah, any ideas, lads? Feel free to throw them at me.
I can't think of any just at the moment, to be honest. But it seems like quite a sound guy.
Oh yeah, he is. He took quite a few commissions. I had a look at his website the other actually last night. Yeah, quite interesting. I might Silver Moon is here. Hello, Silver Moon. Hi, Sam. Hope you're doing all right. But yeah, so yeah, he's a nice guy. He's got a lot of good artwork and everything. So I'm kind of looking forward to receiving the commission. I'm just thinking of some ideas of how I want it to be. And just to throw it out there to Silver Moon, to Sam, thank you very much for the Luna plush. I've seen the pictures you sent. Looks amazing. Or the Dragon Luna plush, I should say. Yeah, so look forward to receiving her. She's going to be great. But thank you to Sam for that. I will do a review on her when obviously I receive her, whenever that'll be. But cheers to Sam for the Luna Dragon plush.
Yeah. Okay, sorry for talking over you there, Sam. But I'll just say, Sam, I tried to send you a message on Facebook the other day, but since you've not accepted my request yet, don't worry, it wasn't able to go through on Messenger. I just wondered, if you remember that I was talking to you about whether or not you could make me a Maud Pie plush at TF Nation. I just wanted to know how much you might charge for a certain size. If you could just let me know that, that'd be great. But in your own time, there's no rush. But yeah, I'm really desperate for a Maud plush, and there's no official ones.
Yeah, they only did so many, didn't they, from the show? From when they had that thing with Build-A-Bear.
Yeah, but also the Thai ones and stuff as well. But
and just want to quickly ask, Ryan on Wi-Fi.
Yep.
Apologies if I'm wrong, but did I speak to you at Ponycon?
Yes, you did.
Yeah.
Yes, I
Right,
thought I did.
I was literally just talking to Lawrence about this about that guy before going live, before you joined us.
My name like outside the conference centre on the Friday, and then you asked me for a picture.
Right, I
Well-
was thinking, because I'm sure I remember speaking to a bloke, and I'm sure that was his YouTube name. But yeah, it was nice talking to you, mate. We had a good chat outside the hotel for like an hour. But yeah, it was nice talking to you.
So then, Lawrence, seen as Sam has spoken about his thoughts on Ponycon, did you want to talk about yours and what your pickups was?
Well, I would say the new venue was interesting. Personally, I will say that I preferred the Nottingham Trent University because it's a bit more spacious. It was a little cramped and cozy at times, but the new edition of the pre-con concert was very good. Yeah, they despite for the fact that it was delayed by nearly an hour on the Friday night because one of the acts unfortunately apparently was stuck in traffic, but the new edition of the pre-con concert was very good. The host Bex, who's also Bexy, who's one of the committee, she did a DJ set known as Bexy's Beats, playing like all the club classics, like all the 90s cheesy pop and the early 2000s stuff that we all would remember. So that was good, and and then I stayed for a few of the acts. I remember, Sam, you didn't actually stay for any of that concert, did you, that night?
No, not the Friday night. The Saturday night I was there for the concert, more or less for the whole thing. But yeah, Friday night I didn't. I think a few people started leaving after about 40 minutes of sort of hanging around because I appreciate that things didn't go according to plan. There was just one of the acts was stuck in traffic. It happens, and that's actually how I ran into Ryan on Wi-Fi. It's literally I was just walking out, and I heard someone shout my name, and yeah, he went and told me he was a fan of Bronies UK. So yeah, I ended up having a good chat with him. But yeah, I mean, Saturday night was great. Annoyingly, I've probably lost all the footage I took of that. But what can you do? I've still got some of it. I'll try and sort it out. But yeah, all in all, to be honest, the Saturday night, the concert on Saturday night for Ponycon, I'll be honest, that's why everybody goes. Don't get me wrong, people go to meet people, have a good time, and meet guests if there are guests, and buy pony stuff. But I would say 90% of the reason people go to Ponycon is because they want to rock out with the brony musicians and just have a great night. And it's always the same. It always is a great night.
Saturday night concert. Yeah, I stayed until Prince Whatever had finished and then I remember it was like 11:30 when I left after you. I was hungry, so I went to Burger King and then made my way back to the hotel. But yeah, I still, despite the hold-ups, which of course was no one's fault, because of course on the Sunday we heard that was it the Premier Inn and hotel, some people out there, was the fire, and they had to delay.
There was the fire next. I don't know. Was it in the actual Premier Inn or was it on a different hotel? I'm not too sure. But yeah, that caused a bit of a delay. I mean, again, everybody was safe. There was no injuries.
Yeah,
and
luckily,
that's the main thing.
That's the most important thing. There was no one was injured. But yeah, as I say, we found on all the social media, there was an announcement from UKPonycon to say that entrance to the convention was put off till 12 o'clock.
Right, Ryan. So the fire was at the HSBC below the hotel, right? Okay, well that explains that. Yeah, that was an interesting morning. Yeah, about 8 o'clock ish Sunday morning. Got a message basically saying that obviously opening time had been delayed due to the fire, but everyone was fine.
Yeah.
yeah, so a little bit of sort of excitement, you know. I mean, hell, you won't know about this, Lawrence, because you weren't there. But was it? It was 2011 auto assembly. We all got the hotel was evacuated because of a fire alarm. Fire alarm went off, and
Yeah,
Nosy still got all the footage of that.
you
Because
see,
all of us sort of stood outside and in a bit of a daze, like with the alarm going off outside, and we're all being evacuated.
yeah, that was mental. Apparently, I don't know. I think somebody, I don't know if somebody set the alarm off like that was a bit drunk and tripped one of the fire alarms or something. There wasn't actually a fire in the building at all. It was just, I think it was accidentally tripped,
Yeah.
and they basically had to show up just out of formality. But there was actually nothing wrong, and we ended up we all got well, we all had to go outside, of course, but then I think it took roughly half an hour. Then we were allowed to go back in after the firefighters had said it's all good, all good. But yeah, yeah. I mean, I didn't go, of course. I didn't go to Ponycon this year, of course. It was just obviously you two, but I was checking out the official UKPonycon Facebook page, and I found out about the 2 hour delay on the Sunday, which was due to the fire. Um, and then I found out about some people were kind of like not very happy at the fact that there wasn't very much for kids there.
Yeah.
Um, there was a couple very angry parents comments on. It was actually, yeah. Apparently, there was two people on the official UKPonycon Facebook page that had. I can't remember what they were commenting to. There were actual comments underneath of something of another post.
Yeah,
I think it was something to do with one of the days. I don't know. I think like either day two's finished or day one's finished. What kind of thing? Just kind of like just a comment underneath something, and one of the comments was as simple as I can possibly say. The comment from one person was basically they doesn't see basically their child or their daughter or something. They both brought the kids to it, and they said that one person had paid £100 for a ticket, but felt it was really not very happy because there wasn't very many vendors, not many people in the dealer room, which is one person's comments. Now
Yeah.
there wasn't many people selling stuff this year,
well,
and also there wasn't
we
really
know
anything for
why.
young kids or something.
Oh,
Yeah, we know why. I mean, that is basically because they didn't have the room. Like,
Yeah,
not at the university where they are. It's huge.
very.
Whereas the conference center in Birmingham was probably maybe only half the size.
Yeah.
Um, to be honest, if I want to be honest, if any parents are ever wanting to take the kids to Ponycon, it's a fun event, but just be aware that and I don't mean this in a negative way, but just be aware that cons like Ponycon are multi-generational. So
mm,
a lot of stuff there is really aimed at the adult fans because we're the ones with the money. We work, so we have money. If we're lucky, we have money. But the point is, don't get me wrong, it's perfectly child friendly, and there is stuff to do there for kids. But um, I would kind of advise parents, if you ever want to take your kids to something like Ponycon, look into it. Because I do know somebody actually complained about how it was just a load of adults having a rave. But it's like
yep,
the music aspect of the pony fan base is a massive part of the fan base. Like, if you look at all of the primary UK pony cons, and there's about four, I believe, every single one of them has a concert normally on the Saturday night, and most of the acts that are at PonyCon, like for example Prince whatever, he's basically at all of those cons in the UK. So the music side of the fan base is very big, and it's a big part of it. So, and also just to throw it out there as well to any parents that might be wanting to take the kids to these events, yeah,
mm,
it can be expensive, but just be aware that the reason why the tickets for conventions can be pricey, you've got the fees for booking the building, you've got the fees for obviously security, You've got the fees for the traders and the dealers, fees for renting all the equipment for when you're doing the Q&As and the
Also,
concerts and all that stuff. You know,
you've got
it is an expensive thing.
Also, you've got booking fees for the guests as well.
Ah, yeah, Silver Moon. I remember the fire alarm. Half of us walked up to grab food while it sorted itself out, talking AA memories. I remember it quite well because we went. I can't remember. I was with a group of people. We ended up going to a Weatherspoons, and I never got my cake. I remember I ordered some food, and I never got my dessert. Which I just remember. I can remember that so clearly. Like I had my main. I can't remember what it was I had, but then I remember waiting for ages and like never getting my dessert. And then like everybody's heading back to the con, and I was like, do I want to sit here and wait for my dessert, or do I go with everybody? Because I haven't had my dessert yet. I can remember that.
No, I wouldn't have known back then. I didn't even know like auto assembly and that. I didn't even know it existed.
Yeah, we've had Ryan's back as well, saying I didn't realise there was a fire until I arrived at the con. I waited outside for 2 hours.
Bloody hell, mate! Have you actually stood outside for 2 hours? Bloody hell! You know, if I'd lived bloody hell, man, if I'd known you were there, I would have said come up to the hotel where me and Lawrence are chilling. It's only like 30 seconds down the corner. Could have chilled in the room for a bit. And Sam, remember that? I'm taking it. She means I remember Sam or fake Sam not getting his chocolate cake. It was very funny. We all laughed.
Yeah.
Um,
good memories.
Yeah, good memories. All right. I mean, just speaking of pony conventions, I would really look like I'm determined to do Brony Scott one year. I really do want to do Brony Scott. And I'd love to do Festival of Friendship, but the only thing that kind of puts me off a Festival of Friendship is the journey, because it's all the way down in Southampton. It's actually literally from where Festival of Friendship is, you're probably less than a boat ride away to the Isle of Wight. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'd love to go. It's just to do Festival of Friendship, ideally we would need to go. Effectively, we'd have to go up it's only 2 days, Saturday and Sunday. We did ideally have to obviously travel up on the Friday, but then we'd probably have to stay an extra day and travel home on the Tuesday. Just purely because of the journey. You know, we need at least a day just to rest a bit before we travel back up. I'd love to do it, but you know, it's the journey time.
Ryan's back saying, how was the afternoon tea? I completely forgot about it after seeing Rebecca.
Ah, right. You know what? I wondered where you were, Ryan, because I remembered you telling me you were going to the afternoon tea, and during the afternoon tea, I was looking for you, trying to suss out where you were, and I never saw you there. And I thought, well, you know, I could have sworn you said you had a ticket to it. It's a shame you missed it, mate. You know, you could have sat with me and Lawrence. We could have, you know, had a load of sandwiches and scones and tea and had a long chat. Yeah, but it was really good. It was good. You know, sandwiches, scones, tea, coffee. You know, usual. It was good. I can't blame you for forgetting about it after seeing Rebecca Shaw chat. I can see I've actually got your video loaded up right now on your YouTube channel for Rebecca Shaw chat. So yeah, I can't blame you for that, for forgetting about it. You know, you could have just followed Rebecca because she literally would have gone straight there because she was sort of one of the guests.
Yeah.
But she was only at the table of the gold pass. So you know.
Musician, the French musician at the gold sponsor table.
The G5 creator of the G5, designer.
Yeah.
The character designer, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, that she goes by Imalu. Imalu is her nickname, or her pen name, if you want to call it that.
Yeah, she's got some pretty nice artwork.
Yeah. I mean, I remember when that got announced because I found obviously it was pretty big news throughout the whole fan base, and Imalu is really well known around the other artists within the fan base, of course. And she basically was just a fan of the show. She was doing fan art. She was doing this, that, and the other, doing like little art commissions for people. And then her artwork got noticed by somebody, either at Hasbro or the people that were producing the animation for the show, like Entertainment One, I think it was E1, that were doing the film, that were producing the film, and I think it was them that discovered her. I don't know if it was Hasbro or if it was like a thing, but they discovered her work, and that's how they contacted her, asking if she would actually like to work as part of the team. But then she ended up was the person that basically did all the artwork, basically the character designs for all the characters. So basically, she designed the main templates of the characters, and she also, I think, she worked as part of the animation process of it as well for the series. But she primarily got brought on for the film. I think she primarily got brought on for the film, and then I think she did a little bit for the series as well. It's unfortunate that you don't see that very often. A fan of something being brought into something official and being embraced for their work. You don't really see that happen in the industry very often. And
No, you don't. The only other franchise I'm aware of where a fan was actually invited to become part of like actually effectively hired and became part of the creative process was actually for Elder Scrolls V, Skyrim. Yeah, because I heard that one of the sort of designers for the game was a fan of Elder Scrolls, and he was a modder. And apparently he made some seriously good mods, and he was actually invited to become a part of Bethesda. So he was one of the designers. Unfortunately, I never got to speak to her at Ponycon, man. I really, really wanted to speak to her and talk a bit about G5, but her table was always packed, and there was always a little queue. So I never got around to it, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. But anyways, Lawrence, we kind of got sidetracked of other things, but what did you pick up at Ponycon this year?
Well, I have got a couple of new plushes. I'll upload a little video about them separately because.
Oh, that's fine. You don't have to show them off right now. Just it's fine.
Yeah, a couple of figures. Yeah, as I say, I got one thing here I picked up that's not pony related. This Thumper plush from Bambi. I picked that up. It was only £3, and it's got it's got like the original Disney Shop logo on it.
Nice.
Pounds.
Be careful with that one. You might get a cease and desist getting a second-hand Disney Plus. I'm joking.
The Thumper I had as a kid, because as I say, I got a couple of figures and a couple of quite cheap pony plushes. I got one on. What was the Build-A-Bear Cheerly, which I got for £7. Right, that I first saw one on the stall, literally right across from that one. It was like more than double the price. It was £15, and then I saw the other one at the stall literally next to it, and it was like less than half the price, or it was in exactly the same good condition. So I bought that one. I got a Twilight. I got a Twilight plush for £1, and the last one I got was the Build-A-Bear Songbird Serenade from the movie.
Oh, nice. Very nice. Very cool. Yeah, I mean, obviously, I just want to say, here, Lawrence, go on.
I'll upload a video showing those probably at some point over the weekend.
Okay, no problem. That's cool. But yeah, I also just want to say while we're live, I just want to say a big thanks to Lawrence and to Sam for the gifts that I got. Obviously, I sadly couldn't make it, and I am kicking myself profusely from unable to meet Rebecca Shawshett because, let's just face it, next to Rainbow Dash, she's like the next one after. She's like my number 2. Rainbow Dash will forever be my number 1, but Rebecca Shawshett or Sunset Shimmer will always be my number 2. And the fact is that I absolutely love her songs. And her songs for the Equestria Girl stuff, of course. But a lot of the songs for the Equestria Girl side is like they are like the best songs. And then when she's part of the ensemble, when she's singing on her own, also she sings for Twilight Sparkle as well. So she's a singing voice for Twilight Sparkle. And if I was there in person, I would love to have asked her a question of how does she diverse her singing voice so you can tell it's the same woman, but yeah, when she's singing as Twilight and when she's singing as Sunset, they sound like two different women. Totally different women, totally different pitch sets, everything. And I'm just like, I would love to have asked her that question as how do you change your singing voice like that? Because a lot of singers can't do that. A lot of singers have a register. They stay within their repertoire. And they can't really if they're not somebody that sings low, they kind of are like mid to high, and vice versa. That's usually how it works with vocalists or singers. They kind of stick within their repertoire, what they can handle, to keep their voices, their vocal cords, to keep everything safe, so they can keep going. It's probably similar with voice actors as well. It's a similar principle. But yeah, it's just I would love to have asked her that question if I ever got to meet her in person. You never know, some point down the line she might be at a Comic Con, or she might come to another Ponycon in the future. But I'd love to have met her. I really would have. But I just want to say big thanks to Sam and to Lawrence thank you to Lawrence for my little Rainbow Dash figurine. And I just want to say thanks to Sam for getting me an autograph print for Rebecca Georgette. So I just want to say a big thank you. I really do appreciate that. It's very kind of you both.
You're welcome.
Even though it was probably a big middle finger from you both at me saying, it's Rebecca Georgette. But anyway, I'm joking. But I just want to say a big thank you for the kindness.
To meet her, unfortunately. Though she did actually come and join people on the dance floor very briefly at the Saturday Night Disco, because she came and joined Bexy on stage for the second part of Bexy's Beats.
She did.
Oh, cool. That would have been really cool. I'd love to have seen her singing, because she's a really good singer. I mean, obviously Rebecca Georgette, she's been in a lot of stuff. She has been in a lot of stuff, but I'm only aware of her because I think when she got brought in, obviously she's been in the industry for a long time, but I think when Equestria Girls came about, she was a relatively not really known. She was known, but not as known, and through MLP Equestria Girls, she became pretty much like a household name, and she basically got much more well known and much more recognition for her work. And the fact is that she was both the singing voice and an actual voice actress for at least a couple of the characters. I mean, she started off as Sunset, but I think she also voiced a couple of secondary as well.
I actually do have one other thing I picked up here. This is some My Little Pony bedding that I picked up.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Right, Ryan's back. Hang on. Yeah, this is it. Yep. It says, what did everyone think of the opening ceremony? It felt rushed, but I'm not sure if that was due to the time.
Probably. They were a bit behind schedule Saturday morning. They were probably about 20 minutes or so sort of behind schedule, so it's probably why it was a little bit rushed.
Ryan also says Rebecca will be attending Ponycon Holland at the end of this month. I'm like, yeah, I can't
There
afford
you go,
to
mate. Get to go to Holland.
Yeah,
Get yourself off to Holland.
I can't afford to. Isn't it typical? Whenever you really want to do something and you've got no bloody money to do it with, oh well, it's one of them. But yeah, just to kind of piggyback onto that, obviously I wasn't there, of course, but I do remember reading something about that, because I do know the opening, everything was pushed back at least an hour on the Saturday because of issues. I don't know if it was technical or if it was due to the queues outside. That is kind of normal practice for conventions. Obviously I've only been to 2 UKPonycons so far, and each one, there's always been, everyone I've been to, I have noticed there has been issues with at least everything kind of been, pushed back at least an hour or so.
Yeah.
But that's kind of normal because you get technical problems. There might be, I don't know, somebody doesn't show up on time, or they might have some problems with the PA equipment, things like that. So it can cause problems. But like I say, I wasn't there in person, but I will say I do remember seeing UKPonycon guys put up on their Facebook page that, sorry for the inconvenience, but they also did it for the Sunday as well when everybody was 2 hours late going in. They literally, everything was 2 hours behind schedules. A long time to be behind schedule because end of the day, they still had to finish for I think it was 6 o'clock. They had to finish for. They were saying, I think it was about 5 or 6.
Yeah,
So they were still finishing at 6, but yet there was 2 hours less of the day.
I remember
for people to do stuff.
the last thing I went to was the charity auction, and then right, we're due to time. We're going to have to go straight into the opening ceremony when this finishes. So they had to do the charity auction quite quickly, and I think there was over like 140 items to bid for. So
yeah, I remember sitting in one of those. I had to get up because my ass was falling asleep. Literally, the only thing with Nottingham I don't like is, yes, don't get me wrong, I think it's really cool that they do utilise the lecture halls, the lecture rooms. I think it's fantastic that they do that for alternative programming because you can get a lot of people in those rooms and it's a good idea. However, the seats are not comfortable, and if you're sat there for over an hour, more than an hour, my God, it doesn't take long for my ass to go to sleep. It really doesn't. That is my only nitty gritty thing about Nottingham, even though it is a better location because it is bigger, it is more spacious. I think everything's mostly on one. All the main stuff is mostly like the opening ceremony area, the main stage, the trader hall are all on the same floor, on the ground floor, and then everything else is in the lecture rooms on the first floor. So it's very easy to navigate around, but it seems this Birmingham one, obviously the one that was in Birmingham, it seems that everything was stretched around because of space. I know you said to me, Sam, that the trader hall was kind of split into different sections.
The traders were basically scattered around. Like you had the main trader hall, which wasn't very big, and then you actually had a smaller trader hall downstairs on the ground floor. You had at least maybe a dozen other traders sort of outside the main dealer hall. They were all over the place.
Yeah,
they didn't have much room.
Stage room, didn't they? As well, they had some traders in there.
It's not very good that because if it was mentioned in the pamphlet of where to find them, then nobody can really say anything against it.
No, it was. But
was it mentioned?
The issue was they had no choice but to scatter them around everywhere.
Yeah.
I'm personally hoping they're in Nottingham again next year because Nottingham just has the space.
Yeah.
That's one of the things that I like about the Nottingham University. They have the space to do all this stuff.
Yeah.
Plus, the lecture halls work really well for all the panels
And traders, and they've got the big main stage area. They've got they've got all the room for they've got all the room for that's needed. I'd say overall the issue was with the Birmingham Conference Centre was just that it was just that it was a bit cramped and cozy, and
Yeah, I mean, I'll admit there is one thing about Birmingham that I will give it credit for. I actually thought the acoustics were far better at the Birmingham Conference Centre on the Saturday night for the concert than they are at Nottingham University.
Yeah,
with Nottingham University, you're in a large open space. It's not really designed for a music venue, so you don't have great sound quality there. But in the Birmingham Convention Centre Saturday night, I thought it was really good. It sounded really good. So I mean, as much, don't get me wrong, I love Nottingham. Nottingham is the home of Ponycon for me. But if they do end up going somewhere different next year, I'm just hoping it'll be. If it's not Nottingham, I'm hoping it's at least a bigger centre where they can at least fit. Like have a big sized vendor hall. Because the main issue was, for me anyway, well, two main issues, I'll be honest. And again, this isn't against Ponycon. I understand that they had limited space, but the main issue was that the dealers were spread out all over the place, and the other issue was all of the panels were spread out all over the place, and it was a little bit difficult to suss out where everything was.
Yeah.
Whereas with Nottingham University, it's quite easy because you just go into whatever lecture hall that it's at.
Yeah, I agree.
We'll just see,
I agree what you're saying. I mean, it is a lot easier. Nottingham is a lot easier to navigate, and it's not as difficult to find where you need to be. It sounds like to me, I mean, yeah, I understand the reasons why it was in Birmingham. Birmingham is actually a great location because it's Midlands. It's not that far for a lot of people in the UK to travel to. Also, there's an international airport there as well, so anyone flying into the country, it's a lot easier for everybody.
Well, as I say, all the tickets sold out very quickly. Even all the standard ones, were available.
Bloody hell. I have a theory about that. I think the reason why this year's Ponycon sold out so quickly, I think it's because of the fact they didn't have as many tickets.
They didn't have as much allocation.
Yeah, because again, see, the Birmingham Conference Centre is it's small, whereas Nottingham is the Nottingham University where it goes is pretty big.
It's the same. It's the same as TF Nation. Any sort of area where you've got a lot of people, you've got crowds of people, you have to adhere to the safety structure or the safety of that building. So if that building, it all goes on the scale and the size of the building, size of the rooms, size of everything, and obviously there will be a limit of how many people you can have in one space at one time, just in case there's any mass panic, for instance. Because, it's usually how it works.
Yeah, this place was like, I knew this place was obviously going to be smaller, though I'd never been. So I thought, yeah, because it did sell out so quick. I thought, I wonders because they can't have as many people. So obviously there's maybe not as many tickets.
It sold out within probably a week, I think. It sold out pretty quickly. I mean, the only other time Ponycon sold out really quickly, and we all know why, was when Ashley Ball was going.
Yeah.
But apart from that, it doesn't normally sell out.
No. All right, Ryan's back saying they mentioned they are looking at other venues for next year. And he also says, I think they will gamble on other location. I just want it in Nottingham.
Yeah, I'm hoping that it will be back there. I mean, I'm hoping. My only concern is if it would be somewhere that I'm completely not familiar with.
I mean, I understand. Obviously, Nottingham. Obviously, everybody's different. Everyone, Nottingham for us isn't very far at all because obviously it's closer to us than it is to Birmingham.
Yeah.
But end of the day, long story short is, I mean, Birmingham is a perfect location. Whether you like them, there is other options in Birmingham they could use if they want to keep it. If they want to keep it in Birmingham, then, like I said, there's the Metropole Hotel next to the NEC where TFN's based. They have a lot of conventions going through there per year.
Yeah. To be fair,
yes, I understand it is expensive, but at the same time, it has the perfect capacity rooms. They can utilise at least a couple rooms for that one convention.
Like Metropole would work.
It would. You'd be able to increase your capacity as well.
Yeah, you've got the best size sort of dealer room, and you've got the ideal, you've got that, where like the main stage hall is for TF Nation, where they do the club con and everything. That's ideal for conference room kind of thing.
I mean, I understand it. You've got two sides of it. Like at the moment, obviously Ryan's saying there he personally would prefer it to be in Nottingham because obviously it's better for him. But yeah, end of the day, is Nottingham is easier for Ryan, but end of the day, Birmingham is kind of obviously it's Midlands, it's right in the smack bag centre. Everyone's roughly got the same duration of time travel, whether you're from Scotland or Wales, and obviously like I said, there's an international airport there. So like any like voice actors or special guests that are coming from overseas, international people, they could just fly straight in, and it's a simple one taxi, share a taxi or something, or what have you, and you're there. It's relatively quite straightforward to get to Birmingham, and a lot of people prefer Birmingham because it's just easier for travel. But with a guy called BT, someone called BT's come in saying, I've never been to a Ponycon before. In your opinion, what is your favourite part of these conventions as a whole? The one thing that keeps you coming back?
The music. For me personally, it's the music. It's a Saturday night concert. I think, well, no, it's two things. It is the first thing is the music. That's the Saturday night concert for me is the big thing I absolutely love. However, the second thing, it's sort of like the panels because you do get the odd interesting panel. I don't know if I mean I remember one year there was a panel that was literally all about the history of animation.
Hmm.
It's really interesting. So the panels are you always get good panels, but I would say the big thing for me has always been the Saturday night concert.
Yeah, I will second that because obviously I've been to two UK Ponycons so far, and I will second what Sam said. I love a live concert. I love a live band, especially when you've got a decent act like Prince Whatever and Black and Blue and people like that performing there. So for me, the draw for me is the concert, but at the same time, it is also the main draw is the convention itself. Is that
Yeah,
obviously it's
I,
the I just find it a really good environment. It's a nice, safe environment. Everyone can be themselves. Everyone can express themselves and be safe and cosplay, and you don't have to have any issues of being judged for doing that. So it's a nice, safe environment. That's what I love about it, and that's my draw. And I think the team behind the scenes are really good at what they do, and I think it's just worth a punt. I think it's just worth even going for a day to see what it's like, even if you don't want to go for a full weekend, it's worth it. I know we've just kind of been saying about the price of it, and it was quite expensive this year, but again, they had to move to a different location, and the price for that location might have been more expensive compared to the Nottingham University where they usually are. But that's my personal thoughts. What about you, Lawrence? What keeps you going back?
well, yeah, I would say overall a similar thing to you, John. It's just really the whole experience. It's like if
Yeah.
I do the two conventions that I mainly go to sort of every year past obviously TF Nation and UKPonycon.
Yeah.
What I find about both of them is how they differ from sort of regular conventions like Comic Cons is the community is that you get you can talk to people. There are places, there are chill out areas, the Britannia buddies, and obviously the concert is always the highlight in terms of the events, but the whole just the whole experience of the UKPonycon convention from being somewhere with people who are very much equally interested in the franchise as yourself,
Mm.
meeting different people from around the world, hearing people's points of view,
Mm-hmm.
learning about the franchise, and opportunity to buy Pony Man franchise or whatever it is that you want to buy that you see, and of course it's been my second year this year as a bronze sponsor, and of course second time doing the afternoon tea, and of course though you get charged extra for the afternoon tea, but that was very that I found that very good. It's a good
Yeah.
sort
I mean, I've not done the afternoon tea yet. Obviously, I I just didn't bother doing it when I went last year. Obviously, I couldn't really afford to do it on top. I was kind of watching the pennies, as it were. But if I do it again in the future, I might consider doing the afternoon tea because it is a good idea. Because it's a good way to kind of talk to other people that are there as well. You know,
Yeah.
you can kind of have a conversation. And when it comes to conventions, the
I would,
whole when I would just say quickly, just that when it comes to conventions, is that you've got different people in that space. You've got people that are on the spectrum, people that are autistic, people that aren't very good around not very good socially. Find it difficult to open up and talk to people they don't know, and that is completely understandable. We've all been there. I certainly have. I know how that feels. So you got to understand as well is that if you give somebody a nice safe space like that, that's nice and quiet. It's just a nice little people having a sandwich, people having cake, just having a nice chilled out, relaxed atmosphere. It helps people to feel a little bit more being able to probably pick up the courage to talk to somebody they don't know because
Absolutely.
it's a nice, relaxing environment.
Yeah, I mean, just to go back to not this year, Sam, but last year. Obviously, we had that Dutch guy and his girlfriend, I think, that sat at the and of course, because you get to meet you get to meet MLP fans from all over the world. Because obviously, people do come. People do come from all over the world. Like we know, I think there was the guy. The furthest I think someone came this year was from Australia, UKPonycon, to
yeah,
experience.
I would have one thing to say about, if I'm being honest, about the afternoon tea this year. I much preferred the way they do it in Nottingham, because in Nottingham you're all sat at like a big round tables. There's about like 6 or 7 of them.
Mm.
Whereas we were in sort of effectively the breakfast bar of the Holiday Inn, and it wasn't that big. So like me and Lawrence, we were just sat at a small table. Quite a few people. We was all scattered all over the place. It didn't quite have the same atmosphere that it did in Nottingham. And
No, yeah, I was thinking that too. Yeah, personally, yeah, because it really, I found that in Nottingham, it really felt like a typical sort of British tea party. It was very,
yeah, and no, John, just to quickly, because you pop up Ryan's recent comment for me, mate.
The
Just
location
want to
one.
talk. Just want to talk about that real quick.
Which one? The location one?
Yeah. Yeah, so I just wanted to quickly bring in Ryan what he said here. Location was a big discussion. People were not very fond of it. Much preferred Nottingham. I can understand that, because Nottingham's been the home of Ponycon for several years, and like everybody that's been going long enough, they know the area, they know the con. It's big, it's roomy, and it's just a very familiar feeling. And I would hope that they go back to Nottingham, but then to throw in what Silvermoon has said, just sort of just above. Let's, um, sadly, if it's in Nottingham, I won't be able to go. It's too far. But I'd love Sam to go to Ponycon with us all one year. So I mean, however, just to throw it out there, as we've all said, and from our experiences with TF Nation, basically the Hilton Hotel just
The
outside the NEC in
The
Birmingham.
Hilton
That would be
Metropole.
perfect.
Yeah.
Absolutely, it'd be perfect for Ponycon. It's got all
yeah.
the room.
On top of that, what would be interesting to see is it would be interesting to attend a different event other than TF Nation at the Hilton. I mean, that's talking very specifically from my personal perspective. But yeah, the Metropole Hilton would be a great would be a great location for Ponycon for all the different events that they do. And obviously there are many hotels in the area that are available to stay at.
Yeah, can we just bring up Ryan recent cheers? So I just want to say, I didn't know if any of you experienced this, but were any of you able to enter the con without getting your bag checked? My bag was only checked on Sunday. I didn't bring a bag with me on the Sunday, but I did on Saturday, and it wasn't checked.
Yeah, no,
And
that's happened to me only once, and I think it was on the Sunday. Did someone? Because all I had with me was that carrier bag that I had.
Yeah.
And yeah, there was nothing in it really until I bought anything. I think it was only on the Sunday that the security checked it.
Yeah, but a few people were asking about it though, because no one checked bags on Saturday, but then on Sunday everybody was getting the bags checked. So I wasn't too sure what that was about. So I don't know why they didn't do it on Saturday, but they only did it on Sunday. Normally in Nottingham, they'll check your bags both days. It doesn't matter if you're in or out. You always get your bag checked, but they only check your bags on Sunday.
Yeah, in Nottingham at the university, they're very, very on point. They are incredibly on point. To the point is, say if you went out for a quick break, say if you went out to go and get something sweet and you came back and you still had a bag, even though they've just searched you, they will search you again.
Yeah.
They constantly search you, irrespective of whether you've been, they've seen
but
you or
like,
not.
No one got the bags checked Saturday, but everybody got the bags checked Sunday, and I have no idea why. I don't quite know why it was only the Sunday.
Maybe the staff at the conference centre got up the security's backside a bit because they hadn't done it on Saturday and they were supposed to.
Maybe,
or unless they were trying to get as many people in as quickly as possible because of the delays.
Well, yeah, they were. I mean, because
I don't know. End of the day, you got to be careful because end of the day, you don't know who's in the crowd. You don't know who's in the queue. You could have somebody there that means harm to people. I know that sounds like a very extreme thing I've just said, but you don't know who's there. You don't know people. You don't know everybody's true intentions.
Yeah.
So so you got to be careful. That's one thing about Nottingham University is that they really do go above and beyond those security guards, whether they've seen you or not. They check your bag multiple times per day. As long as they see you coming back in with a bag, they will check it again and again and again and again. That is doing your job properly, in my opinion. But for me, I found it a little bit annoying, but at the same time, I understand exactly what they're doing. Is that they're just doing their job. They're seeing it through. It's the safety of everybody in the building.
I get it exactly. There could be any number of reasons why nobody bags were checked Saturday. I mean, I'll be honest. Like Saturday was a bit of a rush when we were all coming in, and again they were a bit behind schedule. But I don't know unless maybe there was a reason for it. I don't know. But yeah, it was a bit odd that it was only Sunday that they checked people's bags.
Yeah, another thing.
Unless they kind of got caught by one of their supervisors, maybe one of the head security guards noticed they wasn't doing their job properly, and maybe kind of like in a briefing, kind of said, right, we need to start checking bags, and that's probably why they started doing it. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I was saying things about the Sunday is that obviously as well as the delays they obviously had the people who were just had the Sunday tickets still had to go and get their badges as well, and they obviously they had two separate queues because the ones that basically already had the weekend passes could go straight in, but then obviously you had the big queue of just the Sunday attendees that also had to go and register on top of. And obviously, that's a whole another load of people, isn't it?
Yeah. There's likely. I don't know. Maybe I don't know what's happened. I mean, there was probably a hell of a lot of people for the size of the building.
Yeah.
They probably got a little bit. They probably didn't have enough staff, enough security to check everyone's bags. So they probably fast checked a lot of people, not thinking about it. It happens, unfortunately, but end of the day, all you want is one ill-mannered individual, one very deranged person to have a knife in his bag and not get checked, or something else. And
I don't realise that how easy weapons are to conceal.
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah.
So easy. Yeah. You never know something on them.
Yeah, it's very easy to conceal a weapon. I mean, you could have it. You could put if it's a knife, you can put it down your sock in your shoe.
Mm.
You can conceal it that way. You could have it strapped to your leg.
Yeah.
You can have it in your bag somewhere, like a secret compartment in your bag. Things like that. Yeah, there is lots of means to be able to do that. I know I'm being very. I don't want to cause any panic to anybody with saying what I'm doing or saying, because end of the day, we're here just talking about a convention and having a good old time. But you have to understand is that we live in a very harsh and very unforgiving world,
I,
and we all know as fans of MLP, a lot of fans of the show have been targeted by very weird individuals in the past. There has been cases of it happening in America, of convention centers having some very unsavory types that security have had to try and get sort out and get police involved, because people that are against the whole Brony and Pegasus thing, and people that are, you know, just against it completely. And there has been people that have. There's been protests. There's been like protests outside convention centers where MLP's been hosted. There's been all sorts of stuff like that. And of course, this is America, of course, but there has been problems, and there has been people that possibly intended to cause harm.
yeah.
So yeah, it's unfortunate, but even here in the UK, it is still possible for people to. It is still possible for someone to be bad and cause harm to people. So I'm just bringing that up as an idea, because you've got to.
You know,
That to me is a bit of a problem, that they didn't really check people's bags properly at Ponycon this year. Even though the guys at Nottingham, they were absolutely bang on, every single one of them, and they were real nice guys as well. There was a couple of them that spoke to me, and they all
I mean, well,
spoke with
they're right.
respect.
The security in Birmingham were real nice as well. They were, they were real nice. But
Yeah.
like I said, there could be any number of reasons. There's no point in dwelling on it. End of the day, whatever reason it's not point of dwelling on it. But anyway, so moving on. So with Ponycon in general, I'm kind of curious. I'm kind of curious about what potentially could be the next place to go to. I mean, they could be in Nottingham again, go back to Nottingham, or they could end up somewhere else.
Mhm.
My only worry would be that they end up going somewhere that's a bit too far out. But I mean, if they ended up going somewhere like London, that'd be far too long a journey and far too expensive for most people.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't want it to end up there. I'm just hoping it stays in the general area.
I think out of the two places that's happening at the moment, I think Birmingham and Nottingham are the two best options. Birmingham definitely has a lot more options in that city as ideas for a convention. I mean, the fact is that they went with that convention centre is actually I had a feeling it would be pretty small in comparison, because it's actually a converted Holiday Inn. The Holiday Inn that we went to back in 2010, Auto Assembly, that is backed onto it, and the convention centre is incorporated in the refit of that hotel. So they basically kind of like, that hotel's completely been remodeled, so it's kind of within the confines of the size of the building. So I understand why it was a bit smaller, compared to the university, of course. But I think out of the two locations, I like, we've seen what Ryan's saying. With what Ryan's been saying, that he'd personally prefer it to be Nottingham, because a lot of people have an affection for Nottingham. It's been in Nottingham for quite a while, at least.
It's like TF Nation, mate. TF Nation's always been in Birmingham. If it suddenly went somewhere else, it'd be just a bit weird, because you get used to the location.
Well, the thing is, though, I mean, UKPonycon has been to different locations. It's been in Leicester, I think, a couple times. It's been all over the place. It has been all over the place, as an event, but I think it's been in Nottingham for longer.
Yeah,
I think it's been in Nottingham for 5 years.
The early days of UKPonycon, they actually would usually go to a different place. I think it was like every 2 years.
Mm.
But they ended up staying in Nottingham for 5 or 6 years, I believe.
Mm.
I mean, as long
Well,
as we've all been going to it, so 5 or 6 years it must be.
yeah. I know it's been there for quite a while, and a lot of people have like come to expect it to be in Nottingham, and I think people just generally prefer the location because you're not. The good thing is with Nottingham as well, you're only a short walk away from the main city centre. You're not far away from any restaurants, anywhere to go get food, and you can go and get food and go back to the convention centre within no time at all. Um, it's quite easy to navigate and find your hotels as well. Obviously, we used to stay at the Best Western. Obviously the times we've been going, when it was in Nottingham, we went to the Best Western, which was literally just like a 5 minute walk down the road.
Right.
Um,
Just to verify for you, the first time they were in Nottingham was 2012.
right.
They then went back to Nottingham in 2018, 2019.
That was the first
Uh,
one we.
yeah, and then 2021, 2022, 23, 24, they were all in Nottingham. And then obviously they were in Birmingham. They have actually been to Birmingham before. They were in Birmingham in 2010 and 2006. However, you have to look at it from a certain perspective. So if you go back to the very first Ponycon, which was we don't have attendance for every single one. But if you go to 2005, which was in Manchester, they had 300 people attend. Then, if you actually look at the UKPonycon from when G4 started, so if you go from around about, say, 2010,
Mm.
it was 150 attendees. 2011, 200 attendees. Then by 2015, so 5 seasons into Gen 4, 700 people. And then they hit 1,000 people in 2018. Then 950, 577. Someone one second, no, ignore the online ones because they were far less. Yeah, so if you look at it, they've been around about between 900 to 1,000 attendees for the last sort of 3 years. So I'd be interested to see what this attendance was for this year. I don't think it'll be as much as like 1,300 because it wasn't such a big venue.
Mm.
But yeah, they've been all over. They started off in Morecambe, then Manchester, then Birmingham, then Bristol. They went to London once, then Sheffield, Birmingham, Brighton, Nottingham, Cardiff, Leicester twice, 2014, 2015, Leeds, Bristol, Nottingham, and then due to COVID, online for 2 years. I actually reckon, if it hadn't been for COVID, they would have been at Nottingham from 2018 to 2024. So they would have been in Nottingham for about 7 years. So yeah, definitely looks like Nottingham is the home that they like the most, but it could well end up somewhere different next year.
Mm.
Well, time will tell.
Let's just come back in saying, I think their adventure awaits slogan was their way of saying they will be adventuring different venues and locations. Just a theory of mine. Who
So,
knows? Who knows?
if in my case, if it goes to like Scotland or Wales or that would be a bit of a trouble. That would be a bit of a problem.
No, they wouldn't go to Scotland because you've already got Brony Scott, so it wouldn't really make any sense them going to Scotland. And Wales is just too far. Like they went to Wales, it'd be too difficult to get there.
Yeah,
They'll probably stick in the general area of the Midlands, Nottingham, Birmingham, that area, because it's fairly easy for people to get to. If
Sheffield.
they are in Birmingham, another year, Silver Moon will probably be able to join us. She has said she can't make it if it's in Nottingham, but she can make it if it's in Birmingham.
Yeah.
Well, we'll just have to see, lads. I mean, at the moment, it's early days yet. They probably won't announce the venue for next year till normally they tend to announce it around March time. Although it was a late announcement this year, but we all know why. So if everything goes to plan, if they've already, I would assume they've already got a venue booked for 2026. We'll hopefully know by March of next year. So fingers crossed on that. I mean, obviously, whether or not I go next year is a bit up in the air. It does depend on how things work out for me next year, with me trying to move out my parents and get into my own place. So it entirely depends how that goes and when or if it happens. So there's that, but we'll just see how things go.
Okay. Right. Right, lads. I'll be back in a second. I'm just going to nip to the toilet. Okay. I'm just going to mute. Talk amongst yourselves.
So I'm curious for anyone watching. What got you all into ponies? What got you into My Little Pony? Specifically Gen 4. Okay, so I want to try and do, Friendship is Magic Gen 4. Let's stick at that because that was really what created the Brony fan base, right? So I'm
Rainbow Dash.
curious, anybody watching, what got you into it? I mean, with me,
Rainbow Dash.
it was basically just I so happened to come across the very first
Rainbow
episode of
Dash.
season 1. I watched it and I really liked it, and I just never went back from there. So I'm just curious, all our viewers out there, what got you into ponies? What made you become a fan?
That's easy.
Me, primarily, it was the G4 movie. And then I started watching the series from the beginning, and never looked back since.
Reverse, did you see it at the cinema, Lawrence?
What?
The G4 film? Did you see it at the cinema?
No, I bought the DVD. And...
Okay, follow-up question, mate. What made you buy it? Had you ever watched any of the episodes from the series before that?
Oh, the only thing prior to that was the first Equestria Girls film, which I bought like a cheap copy of, because it was partly you and John were talking about it before we'd met in person at our first TF Nation. And also, like, I knew a couple of other friends who said they were into it, and I'd seen like the report on the BBC about the Bronies, and I was kind of just so curious as to what is about this particular show or this particular generation of the show that sparks this sort of adult male fan base. So I remember I bought a copy of the first Equestria Girls film for like a few quid, and of course I watched that. I thought, yeah, I kind of get what's appealing about this. But then, obviously, there was a lot of publicity about the movie, and obviously, hearing that all Brony groups were meeting up and going to cinemas together. And also, before I'd seen it, I watched the is it John Lasseter's Bronies documentary. So I went and bought a copy of the movie, and I watched it, the Gen 4 movie, that is. And I thought, actually, I really like this. I do really like these characters. I like this setup. It's not hard. It's not difficult to understand at all, actually, what it is that makes people other than its target audience really like it. And then I went on to Netflix and started watching the series, and then I very quickly considered myself a brony and started buying merch.
Okay, right. Well, right. I can't bring it up on the screen because I don't have that level of admin access here. But right. So we've got a few answers. So, Ryan on Wi-Fi says I got into it from seeing art of the show on DeviantArt. Yeah, I can understand that bit because around 2012, 2013, I was the same. I was seeing a lot of art on DeviantArt, like pony-related art. So yeah, I can understand that. Didn't become a brony until 2021. Okay. BT states, pure curiosity. I remember my younger brother watching it a lot, but never gave it a chance. Finished it around 2 years ago. I don't regret a thing. Love Flutter, love Luna. Respect, mate. I love Luna myself. Big Princess Luna fan. Silver Moon states, I was into it from the 80s, G1. Followed it ever since. I was just curious as to what the next generation would be like after G3. It just went from there, really. It's interesting how most people that got into just sort of hover around the G4 aspect, got into Friendship is Magic and got into the Pony fan base, was out of curiosity. It's always interests me that's just the answer for a lot of people.
The only thing I really remembered about My Little Pony prior to, getting into Friendship is Magic was I just remembered the time when, I think in the 90s, when McDonald's did the toy line of, I presume it was either a relaunch of the 80s line or the 90s line, as and McDonald's did the Happy Meal toys for the girls' Happy Meals, and my little sister got some of them. That was the only time I remember sort of, and obviously I'd heard of My Little Pony. I knew it was something that was big. I knew it was something obviously that was very popular, but the only thing I knew about them was that they were like pastel ponies with manes of hair that little girls could brush. That's what kind of just remembered it as.
It is kind of interesting when you think about it. How, I mean, I know for example, I know there's a big section of the fan base that are into it because of the animation and because of the art. Interesting fact, I had no idea the Brony fan base even existed for about 2 or 3 years. Like, I got into MLP 2013, and it was purely out of curiosity because, as I said, one day I was just flicking through telly to find something to watch. Literally, I came across MLP. It was like literally season 1, episode 1. I just thought, you know what, sod it, I'll give this a watch because I keep hearing about it, and it seems to be really popular. Now, I didn't know to what extent the fan base was like until about 2015, and it was the John Lasseter documentary.
Yeah.
And I saw that on YouTube. John actually showed it to me one time. I remember I was round at his place, and he literally said, "Right, there's a documentary you need to watch. It's actually about the Pony fan base," and it really was quite mind blowing to realize how big the fan base was and is today. So yeah, that was quite an interesting thing.
One thing I've noticed, even though like Friendship is Magic and is over, it's kind of it's finished, and we've had Gen 5, we've had the Make Your Mark, which hasn't really been that successful, but the fact that all the 4 cons in this country are still going, it really reminds you that the fandom is still very much alive. It's still going.
Well, also just to comment on Ryan's question, did you get a photo with Rebecca? No, I didn't. I literally just paid for the autograph. That was it. Just got myself Rainbow Rocks autographed. Just to mention what you said, mate. I mean, there's 4 Ponycons in the UK. Obviously, there's Ponycon, Festival of Friendship, Brony Scott, and I forget what the 4th one is. There's 4. There actually used to be a lot more.
Yeah.
But COVID killed them all off. If you actually look into it, like seriously, it's quite interesting. If you look into pre-COVID, the amount of independent conventions in the UK, there were hundreds, and COVID killed off a lot of them. Sadly, there's been quite a few pony conventions that have sort of died off over the years, either due to attendance falling or people running it, just not being able to do it anymore, or various other reasons. But there used to be quite a few in the UK. There is a list actually I've seen of all the pony conventions, and it's quite interesting how many of them no longer exist. Like obviously BronyCon was the original. That from what I understand, BronyCon largely shut down due to them struggling to find volunteers to help run it.
And also,
And it was also due to attendance slowly declining.
Yeah, it was exactly that. It was due to attendance, and it was due to attendance and trying to find volunteers. Apparently, they were already struggling to find volunteers. Ryan says Rebecca surprised me as she remembered my name the following day, and I actually met her 3 times during the con. Nice.
Very nice, lucky man.
BT's
fanfics are also a big part of diving all the way, and sometimes you have to surf for a while to find something. But there are. Speaking of fanfics, BT, I love Pony fanfics. I actually luckily have a couple of fanfics in physical book form. I have, for example, I have the Fallout Equestria. I have that physical book. I love the fanfics. Some of the G4 fanfics are absolutely incredible. I'll have to be honest about this. You can kind of see the difference in how popular G4 is compared to G5 with the difference in fanfics. If you look at the main website, I'll actually look at it now. Actually, while we're talking about it, so the main website for all the pony fanfics is FimFiction, and what's interesting is the G5. There's barely anything on here for G5 fanfics. It's literally 90% G4. Well, the last time I actually looked into this, there was only like a few hundred G5 fanfics. Let's have a look. Right. So totally for Generation 5 on FimFiction, we have a total of 254 stories. That is it. G4 is. See if I can get a sort of a. Hang on. Yeah, here we go. This is easier. There's thousands of them, like tens of thousands. I mean, literally, if you break it down into sort of categories, for example, stories where Princess Luna is the main character, there's almost 5,000. Sunset Shimmer, there's over 8,000. Twilight, over 13,000. Rainbow Dash, 7,500. You know, like, so this is all G4 stuff. G5. I don't. The numbers, it's barely anything. There's a total. If you go for just stories, like total G5 stories on FimFiction, it's 328, whereas G4's got, probably, I don't know, well in the 50, 60 plus thousand. So it kind of gives you an idea of how popular G4 still is.
Yeah.
And let's be on. Not I don't want to sound negative, but it kind of shows how G5 never really caught on, because it you just don't hear about G5 anymore. Like, nobody talks about G5.
Yeah. There was literally hardly any G5 merchandise this year. I mean, last year I bought a Petals figure, likely because AJ Bridal was there. I mean, I like G5. There are things I like about G5, but it is easy to understand in comparison to G4 why it didn't do well. And I think partly the reason was probably because they connected it to the G4 universe, but couldn't deliver on what they were sort of setting up.
No. Yeah, there was a lot of problems with G5. I mean, the main big things was they didn't have a big budget. They didn't have the biggest of budgets for the series, Make Your Mark, after the film. And they originally wanted to set out and they wanted to establish a little bit more lore and background with the Fredbear's Magic characters. And apparently the characters are, obviously it's a Hasbro property. It's partly the ownership is at Hasbro, but at the same time there is like a partnership ownership of the characters, the actual characters, and that's at Discovery Family. Apparently, Discovery Family own the rights to the characters themselves. So basically, in G5, the show Make Your Mark, if they wanted to bring a character in as a cameo appearance, they had to pay an astounding amount of money in order for them to make that appearance. Hence why you only saw Twilight Sparkle once, and you only ever kind of they've really scattered any sort of appearance because of how expensive it was.
Yeah,
and obviously they brought Spike into it, but they changed him massively, and I think they did that on purpose to kind of get around it a little bit.
As Ryan states, there were many G5 cardboard displays at the con. Didn't see much of G4. It may seem a bit cruel to say this, but those G5 cardboard displays that they have at Ponycon are more or less the only G5 things at Ponycon at the moment. You barely see any G5 artwork for sale by any of the artists. I don't recall there being even any G5 cosplayers at all this year. It sadly G5 has really kind of died a death. Don't get me wrong, the film was popular, and I think it still is, but the series just never went anywhere for various reasons.
Mm-hmm.
And in a way, G5 is sort of a dead franchise really now. You just don't really see much of it about. Whereas, even though G5 is 15 years old today, by the way, people. I don't know if anyone knows that. It's 15 years to the day G4 started. So 15 years to the day that the Brony fanbase started. Whereas G5, sadly, has just fallen off a cliff. It's not, you don't really get much talk about it. It did not have the cultural impact that G4 had. Don't get me wrong, it is still very much liked because, we had the designer, artist, creator of the characters at Ponycon this year, and people were queuing to see her. So don't get me wrong, there is still that interest in it, but it just didn't become the phenomenon that G4 became.
No,
Sad, because I think G5 deserved much better. It had all the pieces. Yeah, it did. It did. BT's right. It did. It just sort of it didn't know where to go. I think that was the problem. It just didn't know what it wanted to be, as we all know.
Yeah, they basically just rewrote it. They basically, you could see from the movie when the movie started it all off, and you could see they were going in a certain direction, and it seemed promising. And then Make Your Mark started, and then you had that little cameo with Twilight Sparkle as the holographic projection, and that was the only time you ever see Twilight again. And that is the only time you see Twilight in the series. And then after that, it seems to kind of completely change pace. It's like, I noticed, like, every start of a series, it would start off the same. Like, the the events of what happened in the previous series is kind of forgotten about, and everyone goes back to being, oh, let's play, let's have fun. And then it starts to work towards something again, and then another series starts, and then it just changes again. So it's kind of like each series that came out, the writing seemed to change, and then they started to develop it as like a self-contained story, still connected to G4. And it just didn't work in that regard because it was anchored to G4, and they had massive issues when it came to the writing, and that they couldn't afford to bring in too many characters because of the cameo and having to pay fees. And that's partly why it could have been so much more if they had a better budget. And the issues with bringing in a cameo appearance and bringing in the G4 characters, they could have really created a great story for G5. That, like BT says, they had all the elements at play, they had all the pieces there. It's just they couldn't afford to do it because the budget wouldn't allow it, and they had to pretty much rewrite the series. And they kind of changed it to the point where, as you see, is that Sunny is supposed to be the main character, but yeah, they slowly start to kind of like move away from Sunny, and they put much more emphasis on Misty. And it's almost like Sunny was the main character. Sunny was like G5's like Twilight Sparkle. But yeah, you can see slowly but surely as the series progressed, Make Your Mark progressed, Sunny's character development got less and less and less and less, and she was pretty much just part of the crew at one point, at most of the points. And Misty was much more at the forefront because the fans seem to prefer Misty over Sunny. And it was like they kind of made Sunny much more profound, and her development, I think Misty's character development is the strongest part of the writing out of G5 in my opinion, because she gets a full like development. She starts off as an underling of the main bad character, the villain. You know, she basically is like an underling, kind of doing spying for her, and then basically she leaves her and then becomes her own pony. She starts becoming friends. It's like a full like. She was never a bad pony. She was just doing bad things because she was being told to by a bad character, a bad person, a bad pony, and she basically just I love that whole thing. Is like her development is the strongest out of all the characters, and it just became more about Misty over any of the other characters, in my opinion. And then they wanted to do more with the little dragon, I think, as well. Hence why they brought in Spike again, but yet nobody seemed to. A lot of fans of G4 did not like Spike. They didn't like how he was designed. And the fact that you say, Sam, he was a quadruped in G5 and he wasn't in G4, and it doesn't make any sense how he changed to being to standing on two legs to being a quadruped. It doesn't make any sense, and I think personally that they chose to redesign Spike because maybe that's how they got away with the cameo fees. I think they possibly redesigned him in that way because he is Spike, but he's not Spike at the same time. So that's probably how they managed to get away with paying a cameo fee for Spike, because whether you like it or not, Spike was technically a main character. He was one of the main characters within that series. He was, for quite a number of seasons, he was at the forefront. He was always there with Twilight, and it wasn't until later into Friendship is Magic where Spike was involved less and less and less. But, Spike technically was very, very an important character in Friendship is Magic at the beginning. So I think they chose to change him that drastically in a way for them to get over the fact that they had to pay a fee for him to possibly make a cameo. So I think that's why he is Spike, but he's not Spike at the same time. I mean, that's kind of how they managed to get around it, because Spike was involved in G5 a lot more than any of the other characters, and also Twilight was only cameoed once in the series. and that was that.
Well, obviously, right at the beginning of the movie, you see sort of them. You do see like the all the Gen 4 characters briefly when they're like when they're being imagined.
Yeah.
Funny.
Well,
Obviously, the had the budget to allow them to do that.
exactly. Yeah. That they
Think
basically they did that whole the opening sequence with all the characters and everything at the beginning. Obviously, the film had a much bigger budget. The film had a much bigger budget. You can tell because the animation is sublime. The animation in the Next Generation film is absolutely gorgeous,
that's
and yeah, the film is really good, and it sets up something. It has a really good beginning, a strong foundation. And obviously they had the money to be able to make cameo appearances like they did. But when it came to this Make Your Mark the series, they didn't have the budget was pretty much halved. I think it was that the budget was not really the biggest. Um, so unfortunately, yeah, that was one of the big reasons why it just didn't work.
yeah. And also,
Interesting little fact for you all here. The last time there was anything mentioned about G5 within the fan base was 8 months ago. That was on Equestria Daily. There was a brief article talking about basically the YouTube series, that was basically finishing up. That was about 8 months ago. But that's it. Like, there's practically nothing else really for G5. It's pretty much just faded away. And just for anybody that's into Ponyfics, the fan fictions, there hasn't been an update on on Ministry of Image for 2 years. The last fanfic they published into book form was Princess Celestia, the Changeling Queen, and that was July of 2023. There's been no updates in 2 years, which is quite unusual for them. So that's kind of interesting. They've not had an update in 2 years.
That's the thing. I mean, even though there is still a draw, there is still an interest for Generation 4, but a lot of the fan base have kind of like dwindled away slowly but surely over the years because basically G4 has survived through the conventions more than anything. The ones that are still going. There is still an interest. There's still an interest in meeting the voice acting guests, the voice actors, a part of the cast and everything, and there's still an interest there, but when it comes to the fan base is not the same as it used to be.
Oh no, it's hugely different. I mean, to be honest, I always think about the lyrics in Solidarity,
Yeah,
the Prince Whatever song, because one of the lyrics is, I believe it's something along the lines of, "It's true we've passed the golden years."
yeah,
Um, like, will you be? What was it? Will you be partying along like we did back in 2013? I think that's the lyric. And the thing is, like, in a way, don't get me wrong, like the pony fan base there's still, artwork being made, still animations being made, there's still fanfics being written, there's still music being made, there's still cons going on. But I would say that the brony fan base as a whole has changed a lot. I mean, again, I'm only going by what I've seen
yeah.
online post us going and getting involved in it in a bigger way, like going to Ponycon. But if you do look at it in the earlier days, especially BronyCon, what you could tell was a very different level of fan base compared
hmm
to how it is today. It's changed a hell of a lot.
Yeah. The thing is, what's interesting as well is I've noticed is that obviously the Brony movement was primarily connected to Friendship is Magic. There was yes, so okay, like Sam said, Silvermoon. She basically said she's been a fan since the 80s with the original G1 series. But yeah, the thing is, what's interesting is that obviously the Brony fandom, it started was it on Reddit or something? Was it
It
some?
it's not known exactly where the Brony fan base started. It's believed it started on 4chan,
4chan,
but
that's
nobody
it.
really knows because the term Brony, no one knows where that came from.
Yeah.
It is known that the fan base sort of started out on 4chan, then spread onto Reddit and DeviantArt, and then you had Equestria Daily Star and all the other fan related stuff. But I'm not too sure how the term Brony began. I don't know if there's an actual story behind it. BT's put a good one up. Yeah, I was never a part of the golden years. Wish I was. So let me remember how big it was on the internet. Never grasped the scope of it. Didn't the fandom peak with millions of fans worldwide? Yeah, it did. Put it this way: at its peak, just as an example, a good example, BronyCon. At its peak, BronyCon had 10,000 regular attendees. So that kind of gives you an idea of how big it was. And at the height of it as well, there were loads more conventions, like pony related conventions.
Yeah.
It is still very much alive, but it isn't the golden years, so to speak. I mean, we're the same. I mean, we never really were involved in the fan base at the height of it all. We didn't really get heavily involved until sort of like sort of near the end. Like when did we? What was the first year we went to Ponycon, Lawrence? Do you remember? Didn't hear you, mate.
2019.
2019. Thank you. Right. So 2019 was the first year we went. So if you think about it, we basically went the year G4 officially ended, but we started doing this channel. I think it was 2018. I think we
I
started
think
doing this channel.
I think it was around 2017 to 18. So it was
Mm.
like within the last series, the last
Yeah.
season.
Guys announced it because I remember doing a response video because I'd only sort of properly gotten into the franchise around the time the 2017 movie came out, and I remember doing a response video to you guys setting up the channel.
Hang on, there's an easy way to find out. Right, Brony's UK videos all the way down to the bottom. What was the very first video we did? First video we did was 2018. Yeah, 7 years ago. So we've been doing this channel for 7 years, and then
Obviously,
let's see.
but
Wow, 7 years. I mean, what's interesting as well is the whole fan base really started to really kick into swing around about when season 3 of Friendship is Magic was airing.
2019. Yeah, that was the first time me and Lawrence first time we went to Ponycon was 2019. So yeah, we
there's,
so 2019, 2020,
wasn't it the
3,
weekend
4, 5, yeah, 5 years then. Yeah.
finale of season 9? That weekend, the finale for season 9 was airing.
Yeah,
If I remember right. That's what.
The finale was, I think, after. I'm sure it was after a couple of weeks. I'm sure it was.
I remember Betsy saying on the stage, or I think on that opening ceremony, she was saying, we know that the finale's airing this week or something.
It might have been the following weekend. I could be wrong. I can't remember the exact date that it aired. I just remember the that last song, I believe it's How the Magic Happened, I think it's called, the very last song they do in the final episode. That really got to me a bit because it was sort of like watching the end of it was really watching it was it was watching the end of something that I'd been a part of for more or less 10 years, and to see it end. And the funny thing was the sheer amount of hate on the internet when it ended was insane. The amount of people, you know, kind of really saying, oh, now that it's over, we won't have to worry about all those weird bronies anymore. It'll disappear and you'll never see it again. And of course, that wasn't the case. Never will be. But when G5 was announced, it was the reverse of that. Everybody was getting angry and saying, "Oh, great! Now all those bronies will come back."
Well,
but it's like they never went anywhere. They're still here.
Way right. Did all the Beatles fans just stop being fans when they split up in the 1960s? No. So even if it had all ended officially at G4 and there never was a G5, that wouldn't kill the fan base.
No, I mean, end of the day, end of the day is that unfortunately, obviously the Brony fandom or the fan base behind the show we've been ridiculed for pretty much ever since it started. I think partly the issues it was partly down to media again. I do remember that the BBC did a story. BBC News did a story on the phenomenon, and then there was, I think,
first thing I saw when I heard about the brony community was the BBC report, and like I remember watching it with my mum, and this seems really odd. I mean, don't get me wrong, I still like this from my childhood, but the idea at first I thought it was a bit peculiar at first to see grown men buying these expensive My Little Pony plushes, but now having been a fan and a brony, I can understand why people would be, why people of all genders, ages, would be interested and want to invest in the franchise, because it's a lot more than just being a cartoon for little girls. Has relatable storylines, relatable characters.
Well, yeah, I mean that's the thing. It's that Friendship is Magic was kind of like it was a flash in the pan. It was a flash in the pan sort of series. It was a phenomenon, and it lasted like I think all in all, I think it was 10 years. Airing was 9 years, but yet I think since they started like recording the voices, I think it was like a good 10 years, like a full decade that they were making it. So what's interesting is that obviously the fan base as we know as bronies didn't really start to kick off, or it didn't the sheer magnitude of interest for the show didn't really start until around about season 3. Because originally, Friendship is Magic was originally going to be 3 seasons, hence why season 3 is like half the length in episodes.
Well, that was originally, wasn't it? It was going to end. Was going to end originally at season 3 when Lauren Force left the show.
Yeah, Lauren Force decided, but Lauren Force only ever really intended it to be 3 seasons. But yeah, Hasbro. When season 3 was airing, they noticed there was a big spike of interest.
Yeah,
and then
they become aware of the brony fan base, and that's when they realised just how popular the franchise was becoming.
Yep,
and that's why it continued.
Yep, they noticed that there was a big diversity in viewership as well, because what really kind of wowed them is that obviously there was a big amount of little boys watching the show. Even though My Little Pony has always more or less been, the demographic has always been young girls it's been aimed at, hence why it's always been about hair and beauty and makeup and magic and all that kind of thing.
Look at back in the 80s, right? if you watch the Toys That Made Us episode on MLP, it says that basically the My Little Pony toy line was designed as an alternative to dolls for girls. Say, like, you know, they can have little horsey figures, the pastel coloured horsey figures. They can brush their manes and their tails the same way they play with the doll.
Well, in a way, it was made to kind of rival the Barbie.
Yeah.
Because the Barbie has always been the biggest seller when it comes to dolls for girls, and I believe My Little Pony was supposed.
Toys in the 80s would have been Transformers and GI Joe.
Yeah.
Big toys for the boys. Yeah. So,
well, yeah, the biggest franchises from the 80s was, well, the ones that are still going strong now is both, it's a Transformers, GI Joe, or Action Force as it was known here in the UK, and also My Little Pony. They're literally the three 80s properties that are still going strong now. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of interesting is that literally it's like when Hasbro found out around about season 3, season 3 was airing here in the UK when I started watching it, because obviously they're just piggybacking here a little bit on the question Sam asked before I went to the toilet. Basically, that's how I kind of come to find the series. It was out of curiosity more than anything, and basically, I've told the story a lot of times, but when I basically, well, season 3 was airing in the UK at the time, so this would have been about 2012, 2013, around about the time of me discovering it. Well, I knew of it, but I had absolutely no interest whatsoever of watching it. I had no interest whatsoever. I'd watched the odd little snippet here and there of like G3 and G2, and I absolutely despised all of it because I just didn't. It wasn't for me. It wasn't aimed at me at all, and I just didn't like it.
I mean, look, going back to what you're saying, John. I'm just thinking like there were things that the three main shows I liked as a kid that were aimed primarily at little girls. I loved Sailor Moon. I watched Princess Starla, or Princess Gwenfair as it's known in America, and Powerpuff Girls. Now, of the Powerpuff Girls, there's a connection with MLP because of it by Lauren Forst. The funny thing is, you know, but all those franchises did also have like a male following as well.
Oh yeah, of course they did. I mean, the thing is if you think about it, yeah, I mean, like I say, with MLP wasn't really about violence as much, was it? It was more like a peaceful series. It was about fun. It was partying. It was cupcakes, making cakes, having fun, having a laugh. It wasn't really. It was aimed more at a little girl. What basically toy executives would think little girls would like. But what's interesting is with Friendship is Magic is there was a big draw of little boys, because I think little boys were noticing there was a lot more to it than a lot more to the series. It wasn't just, you know, so little boys were getting a bit of interest out of it as well, even though it wasn't really for boys primarily. But yeah, they got a really large draw of boy viewership, which really which was what really surprised Hasbro. And that's why from season 4 onwards, for Friendship is Magic, they decided to kind of implement a little bit more to kind of keep the little boys interested. And then as it went on past 4, they started bringing in like pop culture references, which was to stuff that kids of a certain age wouldn't even know anything about. So they started putting in things like Doctor Who references. They put in like movie references from like the 70s and the 80s, Terminator references, things like that. They started putting in a lot of different pop culture references that only a certain demographic would know. And that's when like older demographic, like teens to full-grown adult men and women watching it as well, because they were putting stuff in there that were referencing certain stuff, and that's what drew a much larger demographic to the show. And it was around about between season 3 and season 4 where a sheer magnitude and explosion of interest, and that's when a lot of like people on YouTube, a lot of artists and a lot of fan writers, fan fiction started, and people making YouTube accounts and doing covers of the songs, and all
Yeah.
that really started around about 2012, 13 to 14. A lot of that. So it's kind of interesting, but for me, when it came to interest, it was just out of curiosity because I had no interest of My Little Pony before. And then basically I watched a random episode of Fredbear's Magic. It was a season 3 episode, and it was Spike making a cake for Rarity, and he's eating the gems. And I thought it was really cute. And yeah, I thought it was just really cute. And I went back and watched the whole episode, that same episode. And then from there on, I just started. I just picked the show up from the beginning, and I never looked back. And I instantly fell in love with Rainbow Dash. She was one of the draws that really made me interested in the show. Because Rainbow Dash, for me, as soon as Rainbow Dash came on, I just fell in love with her. You know, when basically Twilight, the poor Twilight's coming to Ponyville for the first time, and all this stuff's going wrong with her. All this stuff is going wrong with her. She's getting frigging electrocuted. She's getting rained on. This, that, and the other. She's getting muddy. She's getting dirty. She's confused because she doesn't know how to talk to other ponies besides. Well, she don't really knows Spike anyway, and Celestia, and basically what I love is Rainbow Dash comes into it, and as soon as she comes into it, she just has this really awesome atmosphere to her, this vibe to her, and I just found her absolutely brilliant as a character, and I was laughing. I was just pissing myself laughing listening to her and watching her trying to help Twilight and trying to apologise but making it worse for her, and I loved her character from that exact moment, and I never looked back. It was Rainbow Dash is really kind of what drew me into it, and then other parts of elements is the music, the songs. I love the music. Daniel Ingram was an absolute genius. Daniel Ingram was primarily the main person that wrote and composed a lot of the music for the series as well as the film, and also for Equestria Girl stuff. And the music that Daniel Ingram produced for the show was absolutely brilliant. So I loved the music, which was a big draw, and I loved the animation style. I loved how vibrant and colourful it was. Yeah, so that's what got me into it, was for that, and it was Rainbow Dash kind of like sealed it for me, and I just carried on watching it from there. But yeah, I absolutely love Rainbow Dash, and I love the series, even though I was never a fan previously. But yeah, fantastic stuff. I don't know where Lawrence has gone. He has been trying to come back in, but he's gone off again. Oh, there he is.
Here I am. Sorry about that.
No problem.
Yeah.
BT's back saying, if you could have any MLP movie made for you as a birthday gift, what would it be? Anybody want to take that one?
I'd like to know more about what I know. It's addressed. I know you get to see more of their individual stories, in flashback mode. But I'd like to know maybe a bit more about the main six as fillies.
Yeah, cool. How about you, Sam? If you could have a MLP movie made as a gift, what would it be about?
It's a good question.
Just Rainbow Dash on her own. The whole movie. It's Rainbow Dash's movie. Because it's 20% cooler than everything else.
I could honestly, I would want I'd want a film for a fanfics, and there's two fanfics I'd love to see in a film format. So one is Fallout Equestria. That would be so cool to see. And technically it is. There's loads of animations on YouTube that for Fallout Equestria. But the other one I'd love is Savage Skies, which is also a really good MLP fanfic. I'd love to see that animated. So yeah, I'd say I'd love to see some of the fan fictions animated. Because some of them are very good, very well written.
Yeah, there is some interesting stuff. I haven't really read any of it, to be quite honest with you. But it's definitely the Fallout Equestria story seems interesting to me. That would be interesting. Yes. Silvermoon's back in. Sorry.
I was just sort of looking into sort of Ministry of Image, which is the website that basically does all of the physical copies for fanfics.
Yeah.
They, like I said, they haven't had an update in, as I mentioned earlier, in like 2 years. And I'm kind of curious about what's going on with them because, I mean, they normally update quite regularly.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of curious as to whether or not, I mean, the website's still up. It's still obviously being maintained. And however, looking at the list of books, let's see, I'd probably say well over half of them are out of stock. And there's sort of no updates on whether or not there's any reprints. Yeah, I'm just kind of curious, really, about it all, sort of whether or not there's any sort of what's going on with them.
Yeah. Well, maybe there's just not been as much interest, or there's maybe not been any. Maybe there hasn't really been any interesting stories. People have been brought out enough to warrant a physical release or something. Because, like I said, that the whole creative side of things when it comes to G4 has dwindled a lot, and maybe people have just moved on. Moved on to different things because there is a lot of interesting stuff. I mean, I know the world of Arcane, like League of Legends and stuff like that's really kind of taken priority for a lot of creative storytelling and stuff. And also, of course, KPop Demon Hunters has taken a lot of people's creativity by storm at the moment. So I think a lot of people's focus is on different things at the moment. And, you know, yeah, it's a shame because I do miss the golden years. I do miss the golden years of the MLP fan base because there was some really interesting, really good stuff that I used to really enjoy. There's only two pretty big YouTubers, I would call them, two of the biggest, more well known. Actually, three of the well known that are still about, that are still doing music in regards to pop culture stuff as well as MLP. And one guy is called AC Racebest. He's still doing his brony. He's still going to conventions in America and he's still doing his brony vlog, basically his convention vlog stuff. He's still very much doing that. And then Saberspark is still doing stuff, but he kind of goes into other stuff. He goes into everything animation rather than just ponies. He's still very much active. And also Gabriel Brown, Black Griffin, he's still about as well. He's still producing music with his brother and stuff. I think there are still other people about still part of the fan base, but there's still, was it Dr. Wolf, I think? The YouTuber guy called Dr. Wolf that used to do a lot of like reactions to stuff. He's still about.
Yeah, I've just been looking into it. Ministry of Image. Basically, I knew a bit about the situation, but this is the whole situation. So,
Okay.
anybody out there that's sort of might be into collecting fanfics for MLP in book form, this is a situation with Ministry of Image. So, I knew a bit of this, but this is the whole story. So, So just to give you all a bit of background, Ministry of Image, were at one point based in Russia. Now, for obvious reasons, that based in Russia. Um, Basically, they moved out of Russia after a certain incident happened 3 years ago, and they are based somewhere else. Now, basically, I've found an update. Somebody was asked, basically, about a year ago, somebody was asking, what's going on with Ministry of Image, are they still active? And the response basically is that is twofold. Due to them obviously leaving Russia and setting up elsewhere, that had an impact on their ability to ship and publish and all that stuff. They have also confirmed they are no longer printing new books due to basically part of their main group deciding to step down due to personal reasons. It basically states here all the books that remain in stock on their website are all that they've got left, and once they're gone, they're gone. So basically, once they've sold all their remaining books, that's the end of Ministry of Image by the looks of things. It probably won't come back. So anybody out there, if you want anything from Ministry of Image, I would suggest you go over to their website and have a look, because I have had a look myself, and they're about 50% sold out. So if there's anything you want that Ministry of Image have published in the past, have a look, because by the sounds of things, in probably another year or two, they're going to be gone, and there'll be no way to get anything from them. And that there are smaller independent projects where fan fictions are published. Like, for example, Fallout Equestria, every 2 or 3 years, the author does a reprint of the actual book, so you can get hold of that fairly easily. But Ministry of Image did sort of worked closely with the fan base to get books published for people that couldn't afford to do it independently. So like one of my favorite books that I have, which is obviously an MLP fan fiction, is called The Long Road to Friendship, and it's a Sunset Shimmer story. It's really, really good, and the only place you can get a physical copy is Ministry of Image. That's actually sold out now. You can't physically get that book anymore. It's quite sad, really, to read about that. But in the long run, considering the political reasons behind it all, unfortunately, it's they're probably not going to be around much longer. But by the sounds of things, once they've sold the last book, that'll be it. They'll probably be gone, and whether or not they come back, we don't know. A shame, but again, that's another original part of the fan base that's potentially going to die off, and it's quite sad, really. I've got quite a few books from Ministry of Image.
Yeah, that is a shame. That is a shame, really. It's sad when that happens. I mean, obviously, I can completely understand with the situation going on at the moment within Russia and everything going on with that. Yeah, I can understand the issues. But yeah, that is a shame. That is a real shame. Well, anyways, guys, we are over 2 hours now.
Yeah.
So I was thinking of having maybe carried on for a little bit longer, maybe bring it up to 10 o'clock. So we've got 15 minutes or so. So say 20 minutes max. So if anybody want to talk about K-pop Demon Hunters for a little bit before we finish, because that was part of the discussion topic.
I'm finally glad I watched the film. I really enjoyed it, and I actually earlier today was listening to a bit of the soundtrack.
You what?
I was listening to
Lawrence?
I was listening to the soundtrack a bit earlier today.
Oh yeah. What do you think of it?
I really like the film, and we did say Sam did get a K-pop Demon Hunters badge from Ponycon, which I know he showed you earlier. So I can see it's very popular. I can see why,
Yeah. What would you watch it again, or is it something that you'd probably happy to watch once, or
Oh no, I'd watch it again, definitely. I like the
One
music.
of us. One of us. One of us. Just to point, it's back at number 1 on Netflix. It got knocked down to number 2, and then it's back up at number 1 again. So seriously, there is no beating that film. That film has been at number 1 on Netflix now, globally, more or less, for like 4 months, almost 5 months. You know, it's crazy.
it is ridiculous. I mean, I love the soundtrack. I love the songs. Obviously, what's interesting is for me is when I first heard about this film, when I first heard about K-pop Demon Hunters and that Sony were making an animated series about a K-pop idol group that fight vampires and demons, I was a bit like, really? Good God, this is not really my cup of tea. This is probably going to be a really cheap kind of film. And then when I found out that the animation, the people doing the animation were the same people that did the Spider-Man,
Spider-Verse films.
The Spider-Verse films with Miles Morales. It's the same people that handled those, the same animation department that did them. And I was like, okay, I come home from work one day and I watched it, and this is before you even watched it, Sam, I believe. When I
Because
first
you actually messaged me and told me I need to watch it.
yeah, because I watched it once and I was like, wow, I really enjoyed it. I thought the depiction of this story, the film, the depiction of it, the title of it is really weird, and the idea of like a girl idol Korean girl group fighting demons, and I was just like, this sounds really bad as an idea, but yeah, I was really surprised by it. I thought the storytelling was executed well, the writing was good, the singing, the songs, the soundtrack is fantastic, the pacing of the film's well done. It's not rushed. It doesn't feel rushed. It feels like the pacing's perfect. The title characters, Rumi, Zoe, and Mira, are fantastic. I love how diverse they are between each other. They're not the same character. They've got their own personalities, and that is really good to see when it comes to character development. They had a proper, decent character development structure, I think. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the character development. I loved the music. I loved the little tiger, the big tiger demon thing, and the little magpie, which I just think it's a really cool film. And however, I will be very honest about the soundtrack. Now, I completely understand why Golden is so popular, and it has gone 2 times platinum. And that is not, I'm not joking, it's gone 2 times platinum. Every single song on the soundtrack has gone platinum, but Golden has gone 2 times platinum. Now, I completely understand Golden is a fantastic song. I do love it. I love the whole soundtrack. But for me, it's not my favourite song. It is not my favourite song out of the entire soundtrack, and I feel criminally there is one song. I know this is my personal opinion, and this is just my personal opinion. Everyone's going to have a different opinion than me, of course, and fine, good. However, I think Golden being as embraced as much as it has, which is fantastic, is a good song and it deserves recognition. It's a good song, but for me personally, I think criminally, the last song of the film, This Is What It Sounds Like, it's called. I think that song is the best one out of the film. It's an ensemble.
I can agree with you. Don't get me wrong. I really like Golden as well. I really do. But I fully agree with you, John. This Is What It Sounds Like. It's the apex of the film.
Yep.
It's in a way. This Is What It Sounds Like is sort of it sums up almost everything that's happened in the film in one song.
Yeah.
And that's what's so great about that song.
It's just what I love about it is that it has so many elements at play. You've got Rumi coming in first, feeling depressed, feeling completely just destroyed about what's just happened to her. Her friends not are running away from her, not trusting her anymore because of the secrets she's kept from them. And you feel the emotion in her voice. And what I love about it is then it slowly brings in Zoe, and it brings in Mira, and then they start doing as it comes into an ensemble. It morphs from a solo song into an ensemble, and I just love the elements to that song. And then once it really kicks in, it becomes a really catchy song. Like the beat comes in, and they're all happy again. They're all friends again, and I'm just like, why is this not number one? Why is this not 2 times platinum? This song, I honestly think this is what it sounds like is the best song on that soundtrack because of the elements that play. I understand it's all little kids. It's like a lot of the fans are all like young people, and Golden has just captured a lot of people's hearts because of the lyrics and stuff within that song, because it's mostly Rumi's song. It's Rumi's song specifically, and it's about her struggles, and it's about all their struggles, of course, individually. But
Wow.
it's
Well, if you look at Spotify, right? So if you look at Spotify, by all the viewers, so Golden has been listened to over 764 million times. It
wow,
could hit a billion. Soda Pop, 426 million views, almost at 427 million. Your Idol, 446 million. How It's Done, 372 million. What It Sounds Like, 327 million. Takedown, 292 million. Freeze, 305 million. So Golden is nearly at a billion, you know,
yeah.
whatever you want to call it, views, listens, whatever, it's almost at a billion.
It is kind of it's unreal just how popular that song has become and how popular the film is as well. It's just it's captured. It's like a flash. It's like this. It's like 2025's Friendship is Magic all over again.
Yeah,
It's
it
kind of
is.
like it's a flash in the pan thing. The thing is
It'll
what go on.
it'll be the next big thing. It already is the next big thing, and I can generally see conventions kicking off for it within the next year or two. And I really want to. I'm going to do my best to keep my eye out on comic cons and stuff because you never know. Fingers crossed.
They might get the
We might-
voice actors and
Yeah,
stuff. Yeah.
which would be pretty awesome. So
Well, I
keep
do know.
your eyes out for that.
Well, I do know the singing voices for the three girls. I do
Yeah,
know they've been doing the circuit in America for
yeah,
conventions.
they performed Golden recently, didn't they?
Yeah, they
Live for
went
Golden.
on Jimmy Kimmel, I think it
Mm.
is. I think they went on his show, and it was the first live performance. You know what's interesting? The last Who Sings for Rumi, it was her first ever live performance ever. She's never performed on stage once.
Yeah,
That was
I think that racked up about 12 million views in 2 days on
yeah.
YouTube.
What's
Crazy.
interesting? Basically, the last who sings for me. Basically, the last who sings for Rumi. She wrote all the songs. She wrote Golden. She co-wrote Free because it's between her and Genu. Um, and I think basically, I think she wrote pretty much. I think she had writing credits on every single song, but Golden. I think Golden, Free, and another song was written primarily just her. She wrote those songs. She's the mastermind behind those songs when it comes to the lyrics. And then obviously they had an actual K-pop music producer working on the music as well. So basically, a lot of K-pop music is like EDM. It's like electric dance music. Basically, a lot of it is like programming a software, basically. But yeah, just yeah, I understand why Golden, and I understand Golden is a very good song. I do like it, but I'm just like, I just feel this is what it sounds like. I just think that that song criminally has been underplayed and underappreciated because I think that should be 2 times platinum because that song you could easily play that song and you wouldn't really need to have the connection of it being part of an animated series because you know, if you listen to that song, if you say if you've never watched the film in your life and you just came across it randomly through Spotify or whatever, it just plays randomly, and you have no context as to what that song is from, you could switch your brain off and you could literally just listen to it in a way where it's basically about one person's depression. It's like, you know, one of the singers is depressed, and it's like working through that, and then the friends coming back together again, and it's you could kind of listen to that without the context of it being part of a film. Golden, you can do that as well, but you can definitely tell Golden is much more part of an animated film than this is what it's this is what it sounds like. I think this is what it sounds like. I think it's a bit more of a mature type of song. And I think that's primarily why it's not been as widely played as Golden has, because Golden is much more that you can definitely
Golden's
tell.
very upbeat. That's the point. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
it's the type of song where it's very upbeat. It's very positive. It's sort of that feel good song.
yeah,
But sort of like Your Idol, for example, is the complete polar opposite. Like
oh
Your
yeah,
Idol is a very dark song, which is meant to be because it's the finale. It's that whole point of the bad guys are basically won, everything's over, and then you've got this is what it sounds like straight after, and the way that song even begins with just a little segment with Rumi talking to Kima, and it's just it's just such a simple moment of you you come, what is it, like, you come here like this, everybody knows who you are, truly are now, yes, and you know and the hormone is gone. Yes. Followed by the words, so we can build a new one. Bang. And then it just starts. And that song is, I love that song. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love all the songs in the film, but this is how it's done.
this is what it sounds like.
Sorry, this is what it sounds like.
Yeah,
Uh, it is a very, very powerful song, and it's got a lot of heart to it, but it's very much also the as I say, it's the completion of the story and of the journey. That, in a way, like the opening lyrics, literally starts off with nothing but the truth now,
Yeah.
yeah.
and it's literally Rumi saying, "This is me," and
Uh,
then you've got
the
Zoe and uh,
soundtrack together so well, it really forms. I can see why it's become the big thing that it has. I mean, and I expect it will take on a similar sort of life, or
in a way, you could say that K-pop Demon Hunters has quickly become Gen 6 in a way.
Yeah.
It's kind of the next generation of
It's
what could,
capturing. It's capturing that same creativity that
Yeah.
French Magic captured,
Yeah.
yeah.
created, should I say?
Okay. So I'm ready to head off now. Is that all right? Yeah.
Yeah, well, we're gonna wrap up now anyway. So we've been on long enough, but yeah, we're just gonna say our goodbyes quickly to the chat, and then we'll call it a night. So, but yeah, thank you very much everybody for watching. Thank you so much for joining all three of us, the Bronish UK guys, together again. Finally, it's been a while, but it has been a great chat, and I do appreciate everybody from coming in. So I want to say a big thank you for watching us this evening. I want to say a big thank you to Sam Silvermoon, big thank you to Ryan and BT. So thank you to all of you for joining us. It's been a great chat. So would you like to say any closing words, Sam, before we go?
Well, as always, thank you to our audience for listening to us. thank you to John Lawrence for obviously being part of the channel. And thanks to Ponycon and all the organisers and all the volunteers. You know, thanks to you all for a great weekend that we had.
Yeah,
And yeah, we'll be back for another video whenever that is.
there's there, you know. Thanks, sort of Ponycon. Thanks for pulling through. Thanks for putting on the a great event for us. You know, I don't know how you manage everything. Well done to all the crew, the volunteers, the guests, the musicians, the traders. Thanks to everyone, and say thanks to everyone tonight. Thanks to everyone who's our audience. Thanks for sending in questions. Thanks for putting up with all of us, and thank you for.
Yep, thank you very much indeed. So we're going to go now. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, everybody, and we'll be back very soon. We're going to try and come together at least maybe every couple of weeks or something like that to maybe do some more live streams in the near future. I know there's not much pony stuff to talk about right now, but we will try to come together just to have a chill out and now and again do some streams. But thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, everybody, and bye-bye for now. We'll see you next time.
Bye. Take care, everyone.